Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a demo and kind of a tutorial over a palette that I thought would be a dupe for the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I've never owned the Kat Von D Shade and Light eye palette, but I have seen people use it in videos. I've seen what the shades look like. I've looked at swatches. I did show you guys this palette in my recent Walmart online haul. So many of you guys said that you wanted to see a tutorial and review over this one. So this is the Beauty Treats Eye Contour Palette. This has 12 matte and shimmer eyeshadows and 4 eyebrow creams, which I don't use. This was like $6 or $7. I did want to show you guys 2 different eye looks you could achieve with this palette and like 2 different tones, but this is more of just a demo and review over the eyeshadows, how they apply, how they blend out. The packaging of this palette is so cheaply made. It's got like this little plastic see-through thing that looks like it's gonna like break through, and you sit it upright, it doesn't stay open. I always have to sit something on the lid to keep it open, and it's already starting to break. Like this is coming apart from the palette. Not really a big fan of that. I do not think this will last very much longer. So if you want to see my thoughts on this palette and see all the eyeshadows in action and see if it's a dupe for the Kat Von D eye palette, then please keep watching. So before I get started, I do want to point out a few things that I feel like this palette's missing and kind of show you what it looks like up close. So here's what the palette looks like up close. Please ignore my fingernails. So as you can see, it does come with 12 matte eyeshadows and these little 4 eyebrow wax creams or whatever. This is missing a few things opposed to the actual Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. The Kat Von D Shade and Light palette has really nice like skin tone, like bone colored eyeshadows, and this one is attempting that, but it doesn't quite reach the mark. So you have this one, and this one right here, but this one and this one look the exact same. Like there is no difference in them, and they actually have a little bit of a sheen. Like they're not completely matte like the other shadows in this palette are. So here are those 2 shades. They look a little bit different. This one right here looks more yellow toned, but on the eyes they really don't look different at all, and when they're swatched they don't look different either. If you guys would like to see another video comparing this one with the Kat Von D one in person, please let me know and I can do that. Maybe I can do like a comparison eye tutorial. So I've already applied my eye primer. I haven't set it or anything. So I'm going to apply this shade right here in the palette. This looks more neutral opposed to the other one, so I don't think I've actually used this one. Okay, so this looks very pink and very white. This is not a really good skin tone colored eyeshadow for me, and it just doesn't seem to be spreading that easily. I feel like I have to use a lot to cover my entire eyelid, and I can kind of see a little bit of a sheen, which I don't like. So I just want to try this one right here. This is the other similar skin tone colored eyeshadow on the palette. So we're just going to see which one is more pigmented, which one looks more skin tone like. This one looks a lot more matte and less like pinky white. I was wrong, they look identical. So let's do an orangey brown look on this side and the more mauve cranberry tone on this side. So I'm gonna go in on the right side with this shade right here. This is like a creamsicled color. So obviously these do feel more dry than your typical high-end eyeshadow palette or eyeshadow in general. They are pretty pigmented with a brush. They don't seem very pigmented with your fingers. So when you swatch them, that's not a very good indication of what they'll do. But I can get these to work. I don't really struggle or anything. I do feel like I have to build up the color quite a bit, but I don't have a problem with blending. Like as you can see, it's blending out really nicely. It's not looking too harsh or anything. I'm not really having a hard time in that. But I will say that these do not feel very high quality. They are not very finely milled. They do feel kind of rough and coarse. Like they don't feel super buttery or soft or anything. There's that color that I'm putting on my eyes right now. I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more things to this side. So I'm gonna go in with this really pretty like pumpkin orange shade right here. This is another one that I've been loving lately. Again, same quality as the other one. It swatches better than the other one. Here's what the swatch looks like. It kind of looks like Makeup Geek Cocoa Bear. It kind of has that kind of vibe. But again, it's not super buttery and soft. So there is what that looks like. It does look like a very nice soft gradient. I really do like that. I like those 2 shades together, but I mean it does look a bit more dry on my eyelids. So I'm gonna go into that dark brown shade right next to the orange one. I'm just working my way through the palette, and this one is a little bit more pigmented than the other ones. This one does have more fallout though. I feel like the ones that are darker have a lot more fallout and debris with them. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it does swatch a lot better. So this would be the point where if I had a really nice skin tone colored eyeshadow, I would put that all over the eyelid and kind of clean that up. But we don't have one of those. So I'm gonna go back into one of those really nasty skin tone colored eyeshadows. put that on the inner corner, kind of to the center. I really do not like the lighter shades in this palette. It almost looks like shimmery, not even like a pretty shimmer, but kind of like glittery on this side. That is not pretty. There is what the warm side looks like. It doesn't look bad. I'm gonna use this mauve shade right here for my transition shade on this side. So here's that one. It's just a really nice like dusty pink mauve. This one does have flakage as well. Here's what it looks like when you swatch it out. It's better. It's definitely better. So here's that mauve shade I just put my brush into. Look at all that flakage. Here's that brown I just used. Don't mind my finger. And as you can see, there's a lot of debris. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that mauve shade to the crease. This is definitely a shade you want to tap the excess off of, and this is kind of one of those shades that the more you apply, the darker it'll be. So if you use a lighter hand, like I didn't do just then you will get a lighter shade. It actually looks pretty good. Like, it wasn't too hard to work with and blend out, even though I did start out with way too much on my brush. But it did diffuse very nicely. I did have to work at it just a little bit, but I think I would have to do that with any eyeshadow. So now I'm gonna go in to this shade right here, which is that cranberry shade. I want to show you guys what it looks like. So again, a lot of flakage, but a very, very pretty color. So that shade does not swatch that well. It's kind of patchy and uneven, but on the eyes with a brush, it looks really, really good. And you can build this one up to be a little bit darker, so I'm gonna build that up just a little bit in the outer corner. There isn't a whole lot of fallout under my eyes. There is a little bit on this side, surprisingly. There's none on this side, don't know how. Okay, so there's what we have so far. Pretty good looking, but I will say again, it does look pretty dry. So I'm gonna go in with this taupey shade right here. I actually haven't used this one. I don't know if this will tie in very well, but here's what that one looks like. There isn't as much flakage and fallout, so maybe that's a good sign. That shade is working pretty well as like a dimension adder, I guess you could say. Like, it's not really adding a whole lot of color. I can still see that cranberry shade underneath. So I do not like doing this. I hate working with black eyeshadows, but we're gonna do it. I'm gonna go in with the black right here. There's what that looks like. They're actually more like a smoky charcoal black, I guess you could say. So there's what that looks like. Maybe that's a good thing, because a lot of the times super pigmented black eyeshadows just don't go very well. That's why I never use them. Okay, this one's actually pretty easy to work with. There's not really a whole lot of fallout. I do have some right here, but it's nothing that I can't sweep off easily. Let's just put this all over the eyelid. So I do like that black shade actually. It's not too pigmented to where it's hard to work with. It looks very diffused, and I think this is actually a really pretty look. So the inner corner. I'm gonna go in with the white shade in the palette. I haven't tried this one yet. This one looks like a very cool blue toned white. Put this in the inner corner. Again, this one has more of a sheen. It's just kind of there. So my final thoughts on this palette are that for $6 or $7, this is a pretty good deal for matte eyeshadows. I do feel like this is a pretty decent palette. I'm actually impressed for the price and for the fact that I've never heard anyone talk about this. Do I feel like it's an exact dupe? No, but I feel like this is very, very close just according to the swatches that I've seen. Granted, these are lower quality eyeshadows. They're not going to compare to Kat Von D eyeshadows as far as quality, I'm sure. I don't have that palette, but I'm sure that Kat Von D eyeshadows are very pigmented, very smooth and buttery. I would definitely not get the palette for the lighter shades, but these darker shades in here I'm pretty impressed with for the price. If you're someone that's used to using high-end palettes, like if you do have the Kat Von D palette, you're not going to want to go to this, because this is going to be completely out of your realm. It's just going to be like night and day for you. These aren't completely up to par for me, but I feel like if you're willing to put in a little bit of work and if you want to save some money, this is a very, very good option. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the style of it. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe, follow me on all my social media. All the links are below, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Mwah.